You are now listening to the iWalter Show. Real talk about nothing.
Faster than a speeding bullet, more powerful than a locomotive, able to leap tall buildings in a single bound. Look, up in the sky, it's a bird brain, it's a plane, it's iWalter. Yes, it's iWalter, strange visitor from another planet who came to Earth with powers and abilities far beyond those of mortal men. iWalter, who can change the course of mighty rivers, bend ears with his annoying voice, and who, disguised as Walter Interranti, mild-mannered janitor for a great metropolitan newspaper, fights a never-ending battle for truth, nonsense, and the American way. And now, another exciting episode in the adventures of iWalter.
Hey everyone, this is Walter. I've been off for a couple days again. Surprised I got back on a normal schedule of sleep. I think part of it is it just has to, you have to have like an influence, I guess, of something or something that encourages a person to get up. It's Thursday, actually. I don't know if I mentioned that. I'll mention it again otherwise. January 28th. It's almost the end of the year. I'm actually going to have to make plans. I'm going to still try to do what I had mentioned a couple shows ago. I'm going to make reservations for Red Bank and see if I can do an interview with those guys that run Jay and Silent Bob's Secret Stash. I think it would be pretty cool if I could pull it off. I'm going to have to do that in the next few days because I think my birthday is coming up pretty soon. It's on the 7th. It'll be a Sunday. Other than that, though, yeah, I'm sorry for people who may actually listen to my show on a regular basis. I just, I've been doing a marathon. I actually finished season 2. Finished season 2 of that show Glee. That actually has been very inspiring to me. I think that's the main reason because just been like in a stumper trying to get back into work and all the hassles I get, and nothing really encouraging me to get out of bed. So I'm up until 5 or 7 in the morning. That's a big difference there, 5 o'clock to 7 o'clock. But sorry, I just had taken a swallow water. But yeah, watching Glee just kind of made me forget what kind of used to influence me, and it was definitely that show and shows like that, shows about music. Music is a big, important part of everybody's life. You just kind of seem to forget, which I'm sure my one friend would like to hear, who's a music teacher, music instructor or whatever, because, his whole life revolves around things with music. And, I guess I kind of forgot that my life has kind of like been influenced that in the past. Not that I'm musically inclined. But that definitely, something about that show of Glee got me back on the right track. Because, yesterday and today and probably all this week, because it's hard to believe it's Thursday already. Just watching that show has just, again, reminded me what makes me happy, I guess, so to speak. More than anything else is just people that are inspirational, and it revolves around music, so that has a lot to say. Because this past week or so, I've been getting up at like 8 o'clock, 7 o'clock, normal time again, and going to bed before midnight, which I haven't done in quite a while. I was doing it for a little bit, and then something just made me kind of get depressed again, I guess. Just what's going on. And you know what? I hate to say it. I think my friend's right about this. It's like you got to kind of step away from the whole thing with the political issues going on right now, because I do my shows, 90% of them are on, 99% of them are on politics and just bad news, and that kind of just takes you down. It really is just like on a down note. Unfortunately, most of my stories are going to be on that level today of just depressing stories. Anyway, I was trying to pile up some stories that I could at least read, because I want to get out of the house before this afternoon. I'm doing my show actually in the morning. I'm not doing it 2 o'clock in the morning or 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm actually doing it at before 10 o'clock a.m., so that's really good. Again, I want to be out of the house before noontime, or around noontime if I can. before the 5 o'clock traffic kicks in. But anyway, I'm just going to read these in the order like I normally do. If anything comes to mind, I'll mention that, any side notes. Well, actually, one side note would probably be, I noticed with Glee, I guess it got to the point that they were kind of doing the same thing every year. It was on for 5.5 years. They say 6, but it was 5, not even 5.5. And I think the reason was they added like some new twist. Those actors were really good on that show, though. But technically, what I've watched so far, it's just kind of doing the same thing every year. Things don't change too much in people's lives. But, seeing the same thing over and over and over again, just kind of, same kind of pattern, I should say, it gets boring. I'm not saying that people stop watching it as much. I just think maybe even the actors kind of got bored of it after a while, I assume. But they're all really good. I really enjoy that show. It's definitely, got me a kick in the ass and getting up at a normal time again. So, for now. So, I don't know how long this is going to keep me influenced to. If I could do this on a normal basis, going to bed at a normal time, getting up at a normal time, I could get a lot more done, too. Anyway, I was going to mention really cool news because I'm, been trying to keep up, which I have for once on one show. I know TV is not your life should not be dependent on television shows, but I really like the Supergirl show, and comicbookmovie.com, they have some interesting stories on that. I don't have them in any order, so somewhere buried is 2 Supergirl stories, and one's really buried. So, but the one I put up last was Smallville's Tom Welling. He's going to he's supposed to, I thought this was the one, he actually is going to be on Supergirl at some point. He's going to do some type of cameo, so to speak. Actually as Superman, too. I thought this was a story because I did read that in my couple days ago, and I haven't done a show in 3 or 4 days, so 3 days. But anyway, this is a different one. Just basically was titled, so I apologize. But that was true what I just said. That he's also proud of Arrow and Flash. I guess, what, I hate to say it, but really Smallville was the first DC comic, superhero show that just kind of launched for these other shows to take off. And it actually started with when Fox was, I think, or maybe it was the CW the whole time. I don't remember now. But that was their biggest thing because now everything on the CW everything is basically superhero shows, which you haven't seen since the 70s, I guess. It's a Smallville veteran, Tom Welling, said during a recent BuzzFeed interview that he was very proud of Arrow and Flash again, and that DC Comics series that followed the end of Smallville and kicked off the superhero revolution on the network television station, basically. So, yeah, and it's true. And now it's kind of come, I don't know if it's going to, be more. I assume it is. It also, it's going to go full circle, so to speak, because you started with Smallville that launched all this. And then it kind of had taken the direction of all these other superheroes. And now it's back to, the Superman universe with Supergirl. So, I wish I could find another story because there's another one, some really cool pictures, Bizarro. It's going to be on, I think, I assume tonight, maybe in the next couple of weeks, because they're really pushing the show with Supergirl and Bizarro. But it's Bizarro. Technically, Bizarro, the way I remember, is the opposite of Superman. He's like a mixed up character, but this Bizarro is going to be Supergirl's Bizarro. I'm sure it was in the comic books because so far they've followed everything to the T from the comics. So, altering it a bit, but still taking it right from the comic books or the graphic novels. Anyway, I'm just going to read these stories, like I said, as they come, forth. And there was one a couple days ago. It was kind of upsetting from American.com, AmericanNews.com. It's titled, "Please Feed Me. Children intentionally starve their elderly mother." And it's really sad. It's this China woman was nearly starved to death, and it's got some pictures. You really feel bad for this woman. By her own children after they decided they no longer wanted to the expense or the hassle of caring for her. This 90-year-old woman, she literally looks like one of these concentration camp from World War II victims. She's like skeleton, skin and bones. And she basically is like begging for food. She basically survived off of water and oatmeal, which her neighbors had snuck in while her 2 children were away, although the neighbors were unaware of that. She was being starved to death, basically. Certainly, it had the impression she was being mistreated, and therefore to be one who was anonymously alerted police on her condition. I guess the neighbors did. Yeah, it's really sad. This poor woman, literally, she's 90 years old, and she probably weighs no more than I hate to say it, like 20 or 30 pounds. It's horrible. It's amazing, and it's her own children who did this who got tired of taking care of her. Again, these are stories a couple days old. It was just because I've been off the air. I've been trying to get on a normal sleep schedule, which I have again. For how long, I don't know. So, yeah, this next story, by the way, was some website I think I actually found. It was on ClashDaily.com. It's going to be a mixture of my friend Todd's and my stories. Question, if you caught a refugee molesting your daughter, what would you do? It puts A, nothing, B, call 911, or C, beat him into next week. And they showed this picture of this girl on Clash Daily where it was like severely beaten to a pulp, probably, yeah, obviously by these refugees. And, they show a before and after picture, the beating. And the one, she's like completely covered in blood all over her face and hair from probably her, obviously her own blood. I think it's pretty clear the choice she would have chosen. Raising righteous and rowdy girls here to help fathers with daughters. And it's actually a book, Raising Righteous and Rowdy Girls. I didn't know this. It's a book, again, by Doug Giles, table score of road tests historically proven can't miss principles for raising girls with a fighting spirit, discernment, and a winning attitude, and in a holy vision to overcome these feces-filled culture. But again, somebody wrote a book, and again, I guess it was influenced from all this not scandal, it's actually happening, with these refugees. These countries taking them in with like open arms, and all they do is basically destroy stuff and take for granted because they're actually being given everything they want by these countries, all around the world. Hey, this was on the other day. Unfortunately, the source I have up right now is from Huffington Post Entertainment. One I normally would not read from, but it was about, I can't pronounce his name, Abe Vigata. I did remember him. He was the guy, I think he was in the Godfather movies too. That's why somebody actually called the other day a friend. It was when he died. It said Barney Miller starred dead at 94. The 3-time Emmy nominee also starred in his own spinoff series, which was called Fish. I remember that from years ago. Yeah, they have a shot that he was in the Godfather movies too. It says New York, I guess. Actor Abe. Again, I should know how to say this. I'm Italian, but Vigata, whose leathery, sunken eyes and face made him ideal for playing over the hill detective Phil Fish in the 70s TV series. I remember watching it when I was on. And doomed mafia soldier in The Godfather died just on Tuesday at the age of 94. So he will be definitely missed. Yeah, it was a very cool actor. Did a lot of good stuff. Yeah, there was a story on Opposing Views I found the other day. It was kind of not really funny, but so to speak, it kind of was. Homeowners sued for parking their truck in their own driveway. You know what? okay, here's one of my side notes. We have I gotta turn off my phone and make sure it doesn't ring loudly. We have neighbors across from where I live, and they're just, I don't know what it is. Actually, the area we live in with our neighbors, just in general, they're since I was a kid, they were a big clique, and as they've gotten older, they've gotten more eccentric and weird. Like, we have a neighbor across the street who doesn't want anybody to park in front of her house. Excuse me, including this woman, by the way. Her own husband can't park in front of his own house. We have a quirky neighbor who lives next to me who thinks that, we're spying on them practically, or, just acts like, we're stalking them out. It's like, far from the truth. Like, seriously. But the neighbor across the street has always had problems. Well, they all do on this little part of our development where I live. And, I guess I was just so so into my own problems, I really never had taken notice. I actually had a friend one time, he parked right in front of this neighbor across the street's house. And this neighbor, because there was other neighbors who said, they know who did it. It was during some type of election time where, in our yards, we allowed people to put up their signs for who they believe you should vote for. So my friend parked across the street at this one wacky neighbor's house, and she literally, because the neighbor said that they know they did it, this wacky neighbor pulled out one of his campaign signs and threw it on top of my friend's car. And my dad said, he saw it, and, he took it off his car and threw it in the wacky neighbor's lawn. This same wacky neighbor one time, she actually called the police because a friend of my father had parked his car. It broke down in front of our house, and she didn't like it. It was an eyesore for her, even though it was on our property. She called the cops. My parents asked who called the police to get this car removed, and they said, "Oh, it was your next door neighbor across the street." So yeah, she's a total Looney Tune. Both of them, I guess, are in some way. Hey, they're our neighbors. But, we've had, from being here for so long, we've had quite a few neighbors who have also lived here all their lives, and they have passed away. So we got new neighbors. One in particular is next to this wacky neighbor, lives across the street from us. They had gotten new neighbors right next door to them, and basically the people moved in, cleaned up the house next to them, because it was kind of like, the people that were in there were very old and just didn't do much yard work, didn't take care of the house. They were too old. They passed away now, or at least the husband of this one woman did. So new neighbors that moved in across from my wacky ones across the street. The new neighbors actually next to the wacky neighbors, decided to clean up the place, like clean the shrubbery, clean the exterior, interior. It looks beautiful, the house. But right away, the wacky neighbor next door, who doesn't let her husband park in the driveway and makes him forcibly park in the street all the time, he decided to park his car right smack in front of this brand new neighbor's house, like smack dead center in front of her house. And you're probably wondering, why am I mentioning all this? Well, obviously, these are people who are not willing to take this neighbor's shit. So what they've been doing is, like yesterday, he deliberately parked dead center in front of the wacky neighbor's house, who doesn't want anybody to park in front of their house at all, or in front of our house. And he's been repeatedly doing that. Like right now, we have very narrow, streets because of all the snow still piled up. And really, you should not be parking the street to begin with until this snow even takes a little bit of a further meltdown. But yeah, they decided we're going to park dead center in front of this new neighbor's house, the wacky ones. So this person is not one to deal with, that kind of stupidity. So he actually takes his car and dead center parks it in front of this wacky neighbor's house, who doesn't want anybody parked in front of her house. So it's, what's going to happen. Well, I know what's going to happen. And in fact, just last night and whatever, this neighbor is almost literally right on top of this neighbor. He has like a little small white truck, pickup truck. And he parks in front of this new neighbor's house all the time. Well, this new neighbor actually owns their own business. They have like commercial trucks. They deliberately park like right on the bumper of the wacky neighbors. So it's just going to be a matter of time. I'm going to say probably, is my guess, is by summer, I might be able to report a story because I know it's going to end up being a domestic dispute eventually. Because basically this guy is not going to let somebody, basically park their cars in front of his house when they could very well do it in front of their house. The wacky neighbors could do it in front of their house. So, again, I read so many stories similar to this where it's going to happen soon. And, again, my guess is probably before the beginning of the summer, I'm going to probably have to read an article that I'll probably find in the Times Herald where, even though I right across the street from them, that there's going to be definitely some showdown between these neighbors, and it's not going to be pretty. So, why I brought all this nonsense up, by the way, there's this story again from Opposing Views. It says homeowners sued for parking a truck in their own driveway. That was on January 24th. David and Arna Orlando are being sued by their homeowner association for parking their own pickup truck in their own driveway. So, yeah, I'm not surprised that there's other places that I could find a story like this. This was an accident. It says Kimberly Moore Homeowners Association filed the lawsuit against these people back in August of 2013, claiming that the truck was not a personal vehicle and it was in New York. Development consists of 84 houses, this area in New York. It says Kimberly Moore regulations state that the car parked in the driveway must be a private passenger-type pleasure automobile. Court documents show that Kimberly Moore owns the common areas of the development, which include the driveways of all houses. Technically, the Orlandos can park their truck in their garage. But that's just kind of ridiculous. There's some type of association type thing, I guess, that you can't even, like, if you have a commercial truck that's yours, you can't park in your own driveway. I think that's pretty ridiculous. Yeah, I just wanted to mention that. We're trying to keep these stories really brief just to kind of, let people know, hey, I'm back again kind of deal. Here's a story. I always like bringing these stories up about Breitbart. Watch, it's a video, actually. Ungrateful wristband migrant complains free taxpayer-funded meals are the same twice a day. So I guess he's complaining about his meals he's getting for free, a migrant. So it says the migrant at the now infamous Lynx House in Wales has complained live on Sky News that the taxpayer-funded free food he gets is the same twice a day, and he also claims that the accommodations he was given, again, at the cost of the British taxpayers, is too small and too dirty. So, there you go. This is what's happening everywhere, though, not even with these migrants. You give something to something for free, they definitely don't appreciate it, especially these migrants. The asylum seeker from Afghanistan talks to Sky News above. Well, there's a video. On the same day, the entire British media went into overdrive about the wristbands that migrants are asked to wear in order to be identified so they can be given free food. So, Breitbart London has reported that on how the story made it to the forefront of the media cycle and exposed the European Union and Wall Street funded group pushing it. So, yeah, that's really bad that they're actually complaining. It's like, well, get a fucking job or go back to your own country if you don't like it. Yeah, I'm not going to read anymore. There's a lot more to this story. It's not even worth reading. Again, I just want to touch upon some stuff. Kind of make it basic. Some of my shows have been like 3 hours, 2 hours, and I don't think I could even, obtain that amount of time of listening to myself for that long. That's too much. Anyway, another story. Other day. All these are old stories now. Fox 29. Cops robber forces 74-year-old woman, young guy, woman to drive her to her bank, and she refuses to withdraw money. So this guy was harassing an old woman. A man forced his way into a Jeep of a 74-year-old woman in North Carolina in order to drive to a bank, authorities said. The woman, who had been getting gas, did what she said and pulled up to the Getaway Bank in Elizabeth City, North Carolina, according to police. Brett Ryan, caught, 28, told the woman he had a gun and that she would get out of the Jeep and go inside and get him some money, officer said. So, now it's not about actually getting a job. It's more about robbing senior citizens. That's when she said no, and she tried to grab her keys from the ignition, but Cott ripped them from her hands. Wavery TV reported. The woman jumped out of the vehicle, and Cott sped off, cops said. He was stopped not too far on a local highway. He has been charged with armed robbery and assault and is being held in lieu of $315,000 bail, authorities said. So, there you go. Another wacky story. I had to at least put those in my mix, I guess, somehow. Yeah, this was pretty entertaining. Trashy-looking woman story. Actually, yeah, what does it say? Daily Mail picture. It's a picture of a lottery ticket from England. The battered lottery ticket with no date that grandmother claims has won £33 million jackpot, a £33 million jackpot. As it emerges, she previously tried to claim the scratch card she dropped in a puddle. Susan Hint, 48, she looks like she's like 70, and I'm like 49, claims to have washed $33,000 winning. I'm sorry, £33,000 million jackpot lottery ticket. The Daily Mail has obtained an image said to show the copy of the lottery slip. The photocopy appears to show severe damage to the most parts of the ticket, and it says, came as a former friend claimed Miss Hint has previously tried to collect £200,000 of damaged scratch cards by saying symbols were smudged in a puddle. So this must be an ongoing thing with this lady. She seems really trashy, and yeah, like I said, she looks like she's in her 70s, not exactly in her, proclaimed, and she's a grandmother. It's funny at 48. I know that's nothing new nowadays. Its 6 winning numbers are clearly visible, but little else could be considered legible on the crumbled and torn lottery ticket. So the Mail yesterday obtained the image and said show a copy of the slip submitted to Camelot by Susan Hint, the woman who claims she has washed a £33 million jackpot ticket in her jeans. The photocopy image appears to show severe damage to most parts of the ticket, including it says crucial barcode used by lottery officials to help establish authenticity. So there's some type of scam going on with this woman. She's probably got, she continually tries to claim that she has winning lottery tickets, but yet ironically, the parts that are the most important parts to prove that the ticket is authentic have been smudged off, and they're the only parts on the tickets that are really smudged. So it does have a lot to say about that story. Here's a story from the Morning Call. Second residents of new Tripoli apartment building accused of running a meth lab. Nothing new about that, huh? It says Lynn Township State Police investigating on, as of last Friday, apartment fire in northwestern Lehigh Valley, said that they have determined that Lynn Township residents was manufacturing methamphetamines. William J. Regal, 32, of New Tripoli section of the township, was charged with manufacturing a controlled substance, possession of a controlled substance, and possession of drug paraphernalia. This Regal was taken into custody after firefighters and troopers were dispatched at 7:25 a.m. to the blaze at Regal Apartments at 6719 Madison Street. State Police at Fogerville said. Not only they said the evidence of the meth lab, but Regal also had Oxycontin on himself illegally. Police said. Police did not say whether the fire was related to the meth, which commonly involves basically vital chemicals, I guess, probably very flammable, whatever. So, yeah, these are stories from that one was from last week. This one was pretty interesting. I pulled this off a friend's website on Facebook, and this was it says New Runner's World. Yeah, this is probably true. It says new weight loss studies show that high carb diets beat actually high fat. National Institutes of Health trials find that high carbs, low fat's better than high fat and low carbs for losing body fat. But you know what? You also have to be like very athletic, I think, to do that. The new results of the National Institute of Health and Diet and Weight Loss trials strike a blow against the theory that people gain weight because they eat too many carbohydrates. They're actually saying it's the opposite. The theory campaigned that the popular author Gary Tubis, Harvard Medical School professor David Lugwid, PhD, and others contends that high-carb diets spike insulin levels, leading to an increase of fat absorption by cell. Basically, proponents of the theory say that the way to lose fat is to eat a low-carb, high-fat diet. The NIH study found the opposite, though. Subjects on low-fat but relatively high-sugar diets achieve more fat loss than those on equal calorie, low-carb, and low-sugar diets. We can definitely reject the claim that carbohydrates restriction is required for body fat loss, wrote lead author Kevin Haw, a star of math, modeler of nutrition and weight loss at the NIH and cell metabolism. So, yeah, this is a lengthy one. Yeah, so I'm kind of not surprised, because I think, especially if you're a runner and stuff, they always used to say best way to lose weight is a lot of pasta and stuff. And they're, once in a while, they go back and forth. Oh, this is not good for you. Starches aren't good for you. Starches are good for you. Eggs aren't good for you. Well, eggs are good for you. It just goes back and forth. It's just like a continuous, you can't win situation, so to speak. So, sorry, I'm trying to get the story to shut down, and instead it just puts pop-ups that won't allow you to take them off. So, here's one I got from American News. Girl age 9 walks into police station, turns her own parents in. That's pretty funny, actually. A 9-year-old in Minnesota, old Minnesota girl walked into Barnesville police station and turned her pothead parents because she said the marijuana smoke in her home was making her sick. She told police that her parents were growing and selling marijuana and that she was worried her dogs would get sick too. When the authorities searched her home, they found several marijuana plants growing under the house, the Minnesota Star Tribune reported. They also found paraphernalia and substance that field test positive for meth. The girl was saying that her grandparents, while her parents are under investigation, Officer Ryan Beatty called her a very brave, a very smart, and a very articulate little woman, a little girl. It was almost like interviewing an adult, Beatty said. She appeared to have the intelligence far above a normal little girl. That's just funny. It's just like, you're being parented by a 9-year-old, your daughter. And she gave some pretty specific information about things like types of drug paraphernalia that the young persons ought to have knowledge about. Charges against a couple who were not identified are pending the results of the lab test. A separate investigation by Child Protective Services is underway. So that's pretty cool. Hey, my friend, I call him Little Matt, friend I used to work with. He got this article for me, sent it to me in a text. NBCPhiladelphia.com, U.S. and World, DeLorean's back in production in Texas. Yes, the John DeLorean's back from the Back to the Future. They're going to be making those again. The recent change in federal laws allowed a facility in Humble, Texas to start making a vehicle for the first time in 3 decades. Houston NBC affiliate KPRC reported that they're going to be start making the DeLoreans again. I think they're just going to use what's left, and maybe, who knows, probably even try to remanufacture some new stuff as well. Just had to take a quick look. I thought there was something that might be kind of interesting to actually read about. So yeah, I'm always there for new stories. Yeah, so I think, let me just mark this story before I lose it. Let's see where it's from. Okay, yeah. I have one from the Daily Mail. It's this Danish 17-year-old girl who used a pepper spray to fight off a rapist near Migrant Asylum Central is told she will be prosecuted for carrying the weapon. So there you go again. You got to cater to these migrants. The 17-year-old was targeted by a man who she walked through Sonnenborg. She was knocked to the ground by the attacker who tried to undress her. But she used pepper spray on the man and to bring the assault to an end. As the pepper spray is illegal in Denmark, officials say she will be prosecuted. So this girl defended herself with a migrant, and now she's, it's one of these migrant set-up areas. The guy tried to literally tear her clothes off and rape her, but apparently, there we go again, it's her fault, not the migrants. The Danish teenager was sexually assaulted near a migrant asylum central and has been told that she will be prosecuted after using pepper spray again on the attacker. So, I don't think I need to go any further on that one. You kind of get the gist of that story. I found this one, I think myself. Masturbating, or maybe a friend sent it to me. Masturbating driver dies after being partially ejected through the sunroof. Sorry, it's not funny. January 27th. This was posted. Detroit, Michigan. The motorist was wearing no pants, died while masturbating in his car after he crashed and was partially ejected through the sunroof. According to the report, the 50-year-old Clifford Jones was driving a 1996 Toyota on the Lodge ramp to Interstate 75 early Sunday morning while watching porn on his cell phone. Yeah, that's pretty funny. I'm not going to read any more on that one. Again, I'm just trying to get these stories through. So, anyway, another one that was on Dream and Demon. This one is also. Tanya Schmidt accused of burning stepdaughter's hand on a hot stove. Butler, PA. Police have arrested a 34-year-old Tanya Schmidt after they say she had placed her stepdaughter's hand on a hot stove. According to the reports, Schmidt lives in a home with a man and his 4 children. Police say that she was physically abusive towards one of the children, a 6-year-old girl, and once placed the girl's hand on a hot stove. But that's not all. The girl told police that Schmidt has been abusing her since she was 3 years old, describing how she was hit with a big spoon, forced to hold full gallon jugs of water, and placing her head under water in a bathtub on multiple occasions. So, yeah, that sounds like a real prize winner there. Don't need to read any more on that, do I? But I'm sure they would find that woman the victim of circumstance, and it wouldn't be these kids fall, all under the age of 6. Doctors claim, this was a story a friend sent to me. It was on urbanleak.com. Doctors claim that BJs are good for women's health and help fight depression. Oral is good for women's health, and it makes them feel happier, according to a study which studied the effects of semen mood-altering chemicals. I don't know where people even publish, make these stories up. Or come up with these stories. The State University of New York study implied that semen contains chemicals that elevate mood, increase affection, and induce sleep, and also contain at least 3 antidepressants. Yeah, I'm sorry. I think it's just really funny. Semen contains cortisol or whatever, and which is known to increase affection, estrogen, whatever, which elevates mood, and oxetane, which is also elevates mood. Honestly, I'm not going to read anymore because, it's just they try to validate inappropriate behavior any way they can, and I'm sure this is some leftist run site. Wow, I actually found something on my main interest. My next story is from BloodyDisgusting.com. American Horror Story eyes the most famous internet creepypasta for the 6th season. After dealing with some of the history's most interesting and deprived characters and scenarios, American Horror Story is now potentially turned into the story created by the internet for its 6th season, according to U.S. Weekly Insider Ryan Murphy. And the company are thinking that the show might benefit from the introduction of the infamous creepypasta character Slender Man. So that's what was going to be. I didn't know it was an internet thing. I've heard of Slender Man. I think there were stories even on the X-Files about that. But yeah, they're going to incorporate Slender Man. I don't know. I just kind of lost interest, my interest in that show of American Horror Story. But hey, if they do something different, I'll give it a shot again. I'm a glutton for punishment. Anyway, I saw this story, so I have to actually publish it not publish it. Put it on my Twitter and Facebook thing. BloodyDisgusting.com. Friday the 13th would have opened with the 80s Paramount logo. The next Friday the 13th is back at square one, but before prisoner Aaron Gozaki was recently attached to his own page. One rewrite, the Hannibal's Nick Anstonia, whatever, took his own stab at the mythology of Jason Voorhees. He speaks with the necromechist about being hired by Paramount Pictures and Platinum Dune to move away from the found footage, which was originally planned when Southbound David Bruckner was attached to direct it. Now, that was the guy who did the VHS movies. I actually would have liked to see the found footage. I thought that was pretty cool. Yeah, because it says basically Paramount and Platinum Dunes had a found footage draft, and then it came in and did a page one rewrite to rethink to some degree, making it not a found footage, he explains, as which was what they originally had planned by hiring the guy who did VHS. There's a little bit more. I actually did just post it, so if you're interested, it's on my Facebook page. My friend Todd sent me this story. This is, no-brainer. Mandatory.com. Naked man playing ping pong uses his penis as a paddle. Extremely NSFW. Yeah, and they show a video of the guy literally doing that with his penis. This is exactly what the headline says, and this is... So here it is. Warning again that basically because they do show the guy using his penis as a ping pong paddle. You've heard the trick shots, but trick dick shots once more be warned. So there's a video for that if you want to see it. It's on my page somewhere. Thanks to Todd. Oh, wait. Getting it wrong. Got two mice going on at the same time, Anyway, I probably put this up because I was looking for stories, but I guess the Yoga Hosers film was actually shown at where Kevin Smith actually got his start from, at what do you call that? Because I don't see it in the story. The film fest. And it seems like, this story might be pretty promising because it's going back to, almost, kind of like to his roots, Kevin Smith's. So this is a really lengthy article. I just posted it because I was looking to see what he was going on with his Mallrats movie, so I had to post this. And it was basically it's titled Yoga Hosers is vintage Kevin Smith for better or worse. So he's kind of it says Sundance 2016. So I'm not going to read it. Don't worry about it. Thought it was pretty cool though. Another story from Dreamin' Demon. 2 teens dead after drinking Mountain Dew in racing fuel mixture called Dew Shine. That's pretty scary. This was in Tennessee. 2 teens had died after authorities say they drank a mixture of Mountain Dew and racing fuel called, Dew Shine. Well, this was actually just posted today. Last Thursday morning, police were called at the home of a 16-year-old Logan Stephenson after his family found him dead in his bed. At around the same time, police were called at a home of Loganston. I think it's Loganston's best friend, J.D. Brim, after the teen started having seizures. Brim was taken to the hospital where he had died on Monday for the same reason, too. I never heard of that. Why would you mix Mountain Dew with, petroleum or fuel or something? I mean, that doesn't make any sense at all to me. Actually, that sounds rather stupid, but, whatever. And again, I was on that Dreamin' Demon. On Daily News, they said private jet for the price of economy. Holidaymaker has entire plane to himself on a flight to idiotic island after no one else booked a ticket. So this guy got the whole entire plane to himself. That is so freaking cool. I'm sorry. Alex Simon was the only passenger on board the Philippine Airlines flight. The tourist recorded a video that show a row of empty seats behind him. I mean, the whole plane is empty. One seat was sold. Cabin crew had fun with it and recorded him as he stretches out across, on the seats, his seat. Yeah, the lucky holidaymaker didn't have to worry about annoying seatmates, and the seats are really close together, but he's the only one on the plane. Basically nobody bumping into you, crying babies, or lack of space on the flight to an idyllic island. He had the entire plane to himself. We kind of ran into that, not like this. Me and my friend Matt, years ago, we went out to Los Angeles. No, not Los Angeles. Las Vegas. That the way, I think back, there was a lot of empty seats, not like this. And we got, we were able to spread out on the way back on our flight years ago. So, yeah, this guy, 28, had the whole plane to himself. Again, that was just posted. I just wanted to give you a heads up on that. I thought it was cool. This caught my attention. Big Friday the 13th fan, as you know. BloodyDisgusting.com. Kane Hodder injured during the Friday the 13th game. It's his mocap session. So, I don't know how you hurt yourself making a video game. They show a picture of Kane Hodder's arm, and he's got a really nasty black and blue mark. Really, really nasty looking for the poor man. I love Kane Hodder, though. But, yeah, it's basically a story on the making of this game. Somehow they got carried away, and, yeah, Idol for us horror fans had literally gotten injured on the development of a video game. If you want to read that, it's on BloodyDisgusting.com. Hey, by the way, because I'm a big fan of this, they've been showing the reruns of Laverne and Shirley. on MeTV, and they said Laverne and Shirley originally started the first episode January 27th, 1976. Isn't that cool? So I just had to post that too. Yeah, so my next story, by the way, AmericanNews.com. I don't even know what it's about, so I'll tell you that right now. New Mexico votes to protect law enforcement under hate crime bill. That's probably why I posted it, which I do agree with this. I think this should happen. New Mexico lawmakers have added a new group for protection under the State Law Human Rights Act. Law enforcement officers, the group joins LGBT individuals, those who are physically and mentally impaired, and others in protection from hate crimes and other discriminations. According to the New Mexico Political Report, the bill was passed by New Mexico State House Safety and Public Affairs Committee on Tuesday, January 26th. The vote was split 5-4 along party lines. And I'll just read this one quote. Well, I'll try to read this one quote. A couple of police officers were murdered in the line of duty last year. Republican House Majority Leader Nate Gentry said that the new law designates crime committed against law enforcement officers specifically because they are in the law enforcement office. These hate crimes, according to the New York Mexican, basically because they're in the thing. So they're actually, since I really messed up that story already, the bottom line is they are actually now, hey, if you attack a police officer, which it should be, that's considered a hate crime in New Mexico. And they will have penalties against that. I think that should be, because they actually put, do you agree or disagree with that? It's like, well, that's a no-brainer. You're attacking the people, physically murdering them. The people who are protecting you should be held. These people who have hate, that is a hate crime, by the way, but they should be held, basically accountable. Sorry, I got to upgrade to put on. For their actions. So, yeah, so if you want to see that, sorry, I'm moving away from my mic. Yeah, people really need to be held accountable. If you kill a cop, you should serve life imprisonment for what I personally believe that. Not that it says that. I'm just saying that's my belief. Anyway, because I don't want to, I already screwed up that story severely, so I'm not going to read any more. Hey, this was really cool on BloodyDisgusting.com, though. Listen to a new Rob Zombie song, Everyone is Fucking in a UFO. That's the name of the song. I swear to God, I did post that. So he hasn't done anything in quite a while. It's kind of weird. When I saw Rob Zombie in person, he looked a lot older than he really is. And like in this video, I guess they have the video. It's called Rob Zombie Super Beast. Well, the name of the song, though, is not called that. But he looks a lot younger. I don't know how he can look so... I mean, he's probably just under a lot of... he's takes everything very seriously. When you talk to him, man, he's a very serious person. Whenever Rob Zombie releases a new album, there's a certain electric energy in the air, while some tracks leave a bit to be desired. I find that Rob Zombie's music is pretty damn consistent in that it's driving, it's energetic, and it's just sheer amount of grindhouse sci-fi horror fun. So that's pretty cool. Yeah. It basically says his latest Electric Warlock Acid Witch Satanic Orgy Celebration Dispenser is coming out April 29th. And to get people hyped for his new release stream of his first single, Everyone is Fucking in a UFO. So Rob Zombie has actually will be putting out a new album. And I will definitely, most likely will be buying it too. That's like a no-brainer for me. Because I love Rob Zombie. He is actually touring this year. Maybe that's why he's doing it up in Hershey. Now, I have not bought a ticket yet. But I am definitely considering doing so because it's on a Sunday. So even though I'm back at work, which probably by then I should be, either way, I might just buy a ticket. That's kind of a hike of a drive. because it is. Sorry, I just kicked my desk. It is kind of a hike, but it is up at Hershey, not Hershey Park, but up in Hershey. So, and he's doing a meet and greet too, and his meet and greet is not that expensive. It's like $20 for the ticket for general admission, and I don't know, it's like a couple bucks more just to meet him. So, hey, that's cool. Again, I'm actually considering on doing that too. Hey, Supergirl.tv. They're really hyping it. That is tonight, by the way, because I'll have my story up by then, by this afternoon. There isn't much more footage in the 30-second trailer for Supergirl's new episode of Bizarro, so it will probably be tonight. But the 10 seconds is certainly enough to show some amazing new things. Specifically, you can now see that Bizarro girl, Supergirl, has a different heat vision and blows fire. As Bizarro is the complete opposite from Supergirl. Excuse me, I'll keep on belching. Perhaps she is closer to Bizarro from the comics than we had originally thought. So this is the Supergirl version of Bizarro. Will be on probably tonight, so I'll be looking forward to that, even though I won't be able to see it until probably tomorrow, because I could watch it live, but I'd rather see it, without commercials, so I'll wait till tomorrow and download it on iTunes. Hey, I got a story. I'm not sure what it's about because I haven't listened to Rush lately either. But it was on Breitbart, and it just basically says, Rush Limbaugh, Heartland viewers say that Fox News not considered the conservative network that it used to be. And I kind of agree with that. I haven't watched Fox. I can't say much. I'm being a hypocrite. I'll say that right now. On Wednesday, the conservative icon and talk radio legend Rush Limbaugh says that Fox News is not considered the conservative network that it used to be to so many viewers in the heartland. On his daily radio program, Limbaugh said he has found when talking to people, including the media people in the East Coast and places like Washington, Boston, and South Florida, that virtually everyone thinks that Fox News as a conservative network. Limbaugh said that the travels to Missouri for Christmas and the holidays, and goes on golf trips all over the country, basically referring to him. And I am here to tell you that Fox News is not considered the conservative network that it used to be. And I kind of agree with that. More to that story. And Breitbart actually is saying that. So I think Breitbart, hey, I've said this before, mentioned this before, that, you can't even trust the Daily News because I know Rush used that quite a bit, Daily News, for his stories. The UK Daily Mail. Did I say Daily News? I meant Daily Mail. And and that has actually become basically just a trash tabloid anymore. Hey, this just came up. I just got a note for this on Dreamin' Demon. I love those stories. A woman using loudspeaker to promote store fatally shot by aggravated drunk. So this just went up. Moscow, a woman using a loudspeaker to promote a clothing store was shot to death by a drunk man who was sick of listening to her. It's not really funny. I can't help it. I am kind of laughing. Anna Naskava, 25, was hired to help lure customers into a clothing store near a Libano metro station. This was in Moscow, by the way. This tactic aggravated some of the residents who lived nearby, but nearly not as much as this aggravated 50-year-old man who lived above the clothing store. It said the nuclear engineer has been fired the day before and was drinking when he became increasingly aggravated by this woman's loudspeaker voice to advertise the shop. So he basically shot her to death. It says fatally shot. I thought it was to death. Let's see. Hopefully she didn't die. Let's see. Oh no, she did get shot to death. The story, but she said she was pronounced dead on the scene when the paramedics arrived. So yeah, she was shot to death. So I'm sorry to hear that. But that story actually just got posted. I actually have only one story left in my mix, and I can't find it, but it was really good link. I love her. Is Pissed Off Patriot Chick. I definitely added her. She's got some really good stories. She had something posted. Actually's got a lot of good stories. Actually, Pissed Off Chick actually has a thing on her thing that says boycott Fox. Debate goes on, with Trump. Because, Fox was our place, our haven for us, conservatives. But that no longer is the truth. You can't trust Fox. So, yeah, it's no longer a source that we can depend on, as being a conservative. Hey, I'll leave off on a lighter note because I started the show with Glee. I'll end it with talking about a little bit about it before I kind of let everybody go for today. That was one thing about Glee. I've noticed that they kind of incorporated in a couple of the shows I watched, both the conservative view and obviously because a lot of these shows are probably more liberal, but they actually did incorporate both sides. And another thing that was something I wanted to mention that I totally forgot about. I remember a couple years ago at my job, I was actually placed in some type of, hey, you have to show up to work, but you don't have to work. You just got to basically, show that, show your face up to work. We'll pay you with no complications, and you get paid. Well, that's not the main point, but there was this one guy. He's definitely full-blown liberal, and I'm a full-blown conservative. So normally we should clash. We should clash like oil. What is it? Water and oil. But actually, the one thing that kind of had us communicating, and he actually was influenced by me, and I was influenced by him. Obviously, not by the political issue, and this is why I'm bringing up about Glee again, or some sense, not directly, but indirectly about Glee, was the fact that the one thing we had in common, we both liked entertainment, music and entertainment. I'm not talking about music as far as shows like Glee. He actually told me, I never really watched. It was his other show called Smash, another musical show. But we were both into that. He actually, older man, he actually did a lot of, he was ready to retire from Merck. Why do I keep on saying Merck? It wasn't Merck. That's right, because something with my prescription medications or whatever, I get them. But it was always in the back of my mind. No, actually, this guy was actually into, the entertainment. He did voiceover work. He was actually taking classes on voiceover. He told me, hey, you should do that. It's really easy. Because he knew I liked Miley Cyrus, which was Disney, and other things. I like the whole Disney atmosphere. And, obviously I like anything with, because I really got into that last year, was Broadway plays. I went to a couple Broadway musicals, and he also was really into that. His Love Jones, for more than anything else, was that stuff. And we actually, even though our political views were completely on opposite sides, we definitely shared a common interest in Broadway musicals, shows on music, and some other things. So that being said, that was our common ground that kind of was the gray area. I mean, you're talking, this guy was super believer in Clinton. He thought, he put Clinton on a pedestal, and I'm super I'm talking about Bill Clinton. I'm like a person who puts Ronald Reagan on a pedestal, as God, on the political aspect. So, but we did not agree on politics, but we definitely agreed on, when it came to our on our views on entertainment. And this man, he was much older than me. But he used to love talking to me. Like, he couldn't wait to talk to me just about this. Not, the politics, I just would kind of like, he knew probably not to touch that. It would just be a waste of time. But we basically touched on the same views when it came to our love and passion for entertainment field, like very much so. So that being said, that's how I want to end my show on this whole thing, and that I have to thank Lee for, because Lee was the thing that got me inspired once again to kind of get out of bed, believe it or not. So there's not always a total loss on watching TV or shows. I mean, yeah, you got to do it on your own, but your your passion has to come from somewhere, and it was Lee was the one who kind of put me, back on that kick again of just getting out of bed. So that's a good thing. So everyone, thank you for listening to me, and I'm turning off now. So thanks again for this afternoon show I just did. This is Walter from iWalter signing off again for now. Thanks again.